this is one of the most important sites on Earth. I mean, Herodotus said it was more impressive than the pyramids themselves, which surpass all the works of the Greeks. And basically, the father of history said this was the most outstanding architectural achievement in human history. Hawara is so important, so important. And I could definitely go for a few hours about that, but I can give you the lowdown of the newest stuff is unbelievable. Hawara is this site that Herodotus and Strabo and Pliny and all these different historians talked about. You know, Napoleon was there, Petrie was there, all these different excavations were seeking basically what Herodotus had originally told them was this massive labyrinth complex, multi-levels, 3,000 chambers, and all these huge columns and pillars inscribed with arts and sciences and different things, and a hall of records, essentially. Is like when I'm looking for actual ancient records of a previous age of civilization, that's what form it would take. It would be underground to be protected, and it would be a million different rooms so that you'd have so much surface area on the walls to actually carve it into the stone, not just papyrus or something that's gonna easily be destroyed. So we believe, based on all the descriptions from history, that Hawara is a hall of records. It's like a master copy of all this stuff, and it's so immense. I mean, you could fit half the temples in Egypt inside it together. Really, it's that big. And so we've got some of these images from Athanasius Kircher later on, did some beautiful images. We're basically based on the original descriptions, not an eyewitness account, but it gives us an idea of these many chambers, all these different labyrinths, and some of the symbolism going with it, the 12 different halls he described, just maybe different zodiac symbols or things like that. But, you know, in the legends, they said it was constructed over the course of 12 different kingships, and all these 12 consecutive kings were buried within it. But basically, after Petrie's time, it was pretty much determined or understood that it was gone, that it had been, pulled apart. They were pulling stones out of there for a long time, and everyone thought they'd basically taken the whole labyrinth and removed it, and it was gone. But in 2008, Bill, who I'm working with at Giza, he was the first one to, right after they did the 2006 scans at Giza with the NRIG I was talking about, their team moved down to Hawara, and they scanned all around the pyramid. They found all these chambers with GPR. And they were actually scanning the pyramid. It's a mud brick pyramid, but we know that it's actually really a stone pyramid, because Herodotus is talking about having all these large figures inscribed on it and stuff. So Bill actually found underground the actual corner of the pyramid that was way deeper down underground. So the pyramid itself is much bigger than anyone thinks. And according to Robert Schock as well and Catherine Ulysses, they both were developing this idea that the mud brick was actually like protective encasements. Like at Göbekli Tepe, it was intentionally buried to preserve it. So we think, the mud brick might just be a covering over top of the original stone pyramid, more than likely. But he was also doing GPR scans over the pyramid, basically, and finding chambers inside of them. But then in 2008, basically, Bill was there 2007 through 9. So concurrently with him, my friend Louis de Cordier brought another team called the Matahag Expedition in 2008, which he funded as an artist. He's a Belgian artist with the University of Ghent. And again, the NRIAG, the same team, had scanned with Bill earlier. They scanned the whole labyrinth area, and they found all these chambers, this whole pattern of grid-like structures. So the two of them had both basically proven the labyrinth was still there, and there were still entrances to it through the pyramid. But more importantly, both of them were focused on this issue of water. The water table had risen and was filling in a lot of these chambers that were flooded. So it was getting actively destroyed by the water. There's damage. And so Bill is a retired civil engineer, and he did this whole site plan analysis of the water tables and came up with a plan to lower the water there to protect it, preserve it forever. There's like a canal running through part of it, so that needs to be dealt with, and then other wells could be dug. And this is what he submitted to Hawass in 2009 at Cairo University, this conference presenting their project, and that's when Hawass offered him a job because it was a great report. But this report's been sitting on Zahi's desk, since 2009. He's had a plan to lower the water table and protect Hawara, and he hasn't put it in action yet. When he took that report, he basically kicked their team out, the team he was working with, the Polish team, and they handed it over to a French team. And the French never went through with the plan that Bill gave them for how to actually fix the water. So Bill and I have been really, and Lewis as well, all three of us are, we've been talking for the past few years about bringing attention back to Hawara, trying to fix this. This is one of the most important sites on Earth. I mean, Herodotus said it was more impressive than the pyramids themselves, which surpass all the works of the Greeks. And basically, the father of history said this was the most outstanding architectural achievement in human history. And it's being damaged.
And it's being damaged. And it was not being damaged during the time of Herodotus. The water tables were not.
No, he described going into the top level, and then he said the lower levels he was only told about. But he saw the upper ones himself. And yeah, he describes it. Yeah, he said it's like beyond any achievement of the Greeks combined is the Great Pyramids, but the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids, something like that. Yeah, well, basically, it kind of got left off at that. And then in 2014, Dr. Carmen Bolter, Klaus Dona did some more scans with a company called Geoscan. Yeah. And then that was satellite-based scans. And they actually did a scan with another company at that time, and Louis DeCordia was involved in this as well. He was still interested in it then. And by the way, his project, after they released it at Ghent University, all the results, and he published it on his website, Zahi came and said, you need to stop talking about this, basically. He asked him to not report on it, take it all down, don't tell anyone. And he threatened his whole team with national security sanctions. So we're saying, wait, what, Zahi? National security? What's a matter of national security in that labyrinth? Why is Lewis not allowed to tell the world what he and his team just discovered? They made an incredible discovery. So since this time, we've been waiting to figure out what is the matter of national security here. And we only just learned 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe. So the other scan they did in 2014, 15 was with a company, it was with this guy, Tim Akers, and he's no longer with us, sadly. Wish we could have his input on this today, but he passed a few years ago. And he had been ex-military. He was working in British intelligence, military intelligence. He had all these friends in the top labs, the top equipment on Earth. They were analyzing his satellite data. And this is the image you're seeing right here, which it was classified. It was put under an NDA, non-disclosure agreement between everyone who'd seen it 10 years ago, which just ended. So Louis DeCordia published this image in his blog series. I think it's labyrinthofegypt.substack.com.
Can we see this on a map too, Ryan, just to show geographically where this is?
Yeah. So Hawara is in the Fayum Oasis, about 90 kilometers south of Giza. But a lot of people believe, myself included, that there are tunnels connecting all the way between those 90 kilometers. And so you can see that central chamber there in the middle of this whole thing. Tim Akers was describing this as a 64 by 160 meter central, like the atrium of a shopping mall, he said, like a huge central area that opens up to multiple floors on both sides. And he was describing that this entire complex, it's it's like the size of a shopping mall or an airport or something. It's like a complex, not just a building. So this entire central gallery is obviously, housing something very important. But what he said besides that was that in the very center, the centerpiece of this central gallery was a 40-meter long metallic object that was a type of metal he had never detected before. The company had never detected before. And their company, Merlin Burroughs, I don't think they were a company back then. I think this was like the start of the company, basically Merlin Burroughs. But they have done all these scans since that are, I think they get into commercial stuff, and like Geoscan, the other company that did it as well.
So where are we looking? Where is this thing?
Yeah, well, if you zoom out, you can see that if you look at the Giza Plateau or if you look at the Egypt as like a lotus, they call it, like a flower with a stem coming down.
Yeah.
The Fayum Oasis is the leaf there, down at the bottom, and so Hawara is in Fayum. And so if you zoom in there, you see it's like kind of at the entrance into it. That was all this giant lake, Lake Maris, where there's a bunch of pyramids. There's 2 big pyramids right in the lake too. And yeah, if you zoom in there further, you can see that's the canal cutting down through it. And that entire area, that huge square south of the pyramid in the sandy area, that's the labyrinth basically. So the pyramid is a pretty ruined mud brick, but everything underneath that is the labyrinth, and that canal's cutting straight through it. So Lewis was scanning on both sides. He found parts of it on the other side. And
Scroll down a little bit then, Ryan. Then, so it was in this dirt area on both the west and the east of the river below the pyramid. So
yeah.
Scroll down. Yeah, right in this area?
Yeah, all the way through down to there, pretty much. And
Okay.
it's not much to see today. It's all just sand, but it's kind of like this egg carton-y shape, like a up and down.
But if you're looking at the satellite image of it, that you've got this, I mean, like, where is the river still above? They're the still above everything, or does that?
Well, the canal actually cuts into it and floods it. That's part of the problem, because that's what Bill said when he did his analysis. He did these soil borings all around to see the levels in different areas. But the fact is, the water would never go down if the canal stays there. The canal needs to be routed far around the whole site, or else at least like cemented up and kind of just patched so that it's not leaking in. But we'll never be able to unflood them if it's just going to flood immediately back in from the canal. So
Right.
that canal was put in, I believe, into the late 1700s. One of, I don't know, some people say Napoleon did it. I think it was someone who is some other French Freemason guy that maybe was associated with Napoleon or something. But
So that's why it was not flooded during Herodotus' time, and it is flooded today, is because of that.
Yeah. And the Aswan Dam, I think, had something to do with it as well. And it's been complicated in that the farmers in the local area need that water table in order for their crops, certain times of the year at least. But we have a plan, basically, is the point. Lewis's team as well was focused on the water control there. But Bill's plan is it would work, We could just put it in action, and if we brought, I don't know, $1 million or something, we could do the whole plan.
What's the plan?
And excavate.
What's the plan?
I think it involves, either rerouting the whole canal around it, or patching the canal up and then drilling some wells in some strategic locations. So, we could probably do another analysis of the current levels and just see today. But yeah, even that model, I think the labyrinth should be bigger still, because it does, like I say, it goes all the way out to the other side of the canal. But you have to wonder, was this canal, they knew that site was important. They could have wrapped it around. Did somebody actually build that canal straight through there just to flood it?
Right.
And keep people out? And the Geoscan, Carmen Bolter scans, they actually showed 2 distinct levels of chambers, and the upper ones she said, were flooded, but the lower ones were not. So only the upper, but not the lower, which means they're totally sealed off from each other somehow. But we could potentially right now get into the lower ones if we have an access point. And, we do think we know exactly how to get in there. Petrie actually mapped out all the chambers inside the pyramid, but now we can't even enter the pyramid because it's flooded right at the gate. And this is yet another conspiracy of like it's being blocked because someone tried to put a submersible drone in there and send it in. That's what I was saying. Why don't we do this? Lewis was like, yeah, actually, I saw a YouTube video. This one team actually did that, and it just got stuck immediately. As soon as it went in, there's all these rocks blocking it up. Like they threw in rocks just to like create a blockage under the water should anyone try and swim in there. So it's like, okay, well, geez, that's easy enough. Let's just pull the rocks out and send the submersible in. But we do already know what the chambers inside generally look like, but it's generally accepted that the entrance into the labyrinth is through the pyramid. So, yeah, I mean, this is the greatest treasure on Earth, As far as I'm concerned, this is the most important site on the planet.